Hello and good morning or evening. Today we are going to be learning about the material world, in particular chemical science and chemical reactions. We are going to explore how chemical reactions can happen by having a look at the chemical change in red cabbage water when other properties are added to it. Now, our outline of this presentation, we are going to explore what chemical science is, in particular what chemical reactions are, how they're caused, looking at an experiment about changing pH levels, unpacking what pH level means, and after the demonstration of this experiment, there will be a quiz about the content covered in this presentation, so make sure to keep your eyes and ears peeled. Now, before we delve into the experiment, it is important that we discuss some useful information in order to understand and unpack our topic, such as what chemical science is about, what are chemical reactions, what does pH level mean, and what can cause changes in pH level. Now, this is going to be discussed before the experiment, so make sure you're listening very clearly. Firstly, we're going to break down what our topic is going to cover by understanding the background. Now, what is chemical science about? Chemical science refers to the study of the composition, structure, and the chemical transformation of matter. More simply, chemical science is all about different substances and how, when different properties are added, it can lead to chemical change, also known as chemical reactions. Now, the topic that we are learning about is called material world. More specifically, we're going to be focusing on chemical science. Now, in more simple terms, the material world is about understanding how natural and processed materials have a range of physical properties that can influence their use. When thinking about chemical science, it is important to understand how different substances, such as water, which we will delve into deeper soon, can change when other products are added to it, and this is all caused by chemical reactions. Now, what are chemical reactions? So a chemical reaction refers to the process where chemicals interact with one another in order to form new chemicals. When two chemical solutions are mixed, there is always the possibility that there will be some sort of reaction. However, there is also an equal chance that a reaction may not happen. As outlined, a chemical reaction is a process that takes place when a substance or substances are brought into contact with each other and produce a new substance. The substances involved in a chemical reaction are called reactants or reagents. There are two types of changes that can occur during a chemical reaction: physical changes and chemical changes. Now let's take a look at this video in order to understand what they are and examples of them. Now, physical changes in materials and substances may involve the changes in a product's form and state. This type of change is considered reversible. However, some physical changes are not considered easily reversible, and an example of this could include breaking a rock. Something important to consider about physical changes: there is no change in the composition, which means no reaction is actually occurring. Due to this, physical reactions should be referred to as physical changes. Some common changes that can be seen in a physical change include texture, color, temperature, shape, or change in stage. In relation to change of state, boiling point and melting point are significant in determining this change. Chemical changes occur when substances react with one another and different substances are formed. Although they are considered reversible by chemists, they are typically thought of as irreversible. In comparison to physical changes, chemical changes are quite different. Chemical changes occur when the substance's composition is changed. When bonds are broken and new ones are formed, a chemical change occurs. Indicators of chemical change include a change in temperature, a change in color, notable change in smell after the reaction, and a formation of bubbles. Later on in our presentation, we are going to look at an experiment where the pH level and the color of red cabbage water is altered due to a range of factors, and we are going to identify them. Now, before having a look at the experiment, in order to better understand chemical sciences and how the pH level of water can be changed, we first need to understand what a pH level is and what it is used for. Now, in relation to the experiment, which we are going to now investigate, it is important to know that red cabbage contains a chemical called anthocyanine, which exhibits pH-specific color changes, and as a result, the color of red cabbage water changes when different properties are added to it. Additionally, anthocyanins are intensely colored under acidic conditions, which we will see in our experiment. Now, pH stands for potential of hydrogen and is one of the most common tools used for measuring and analyzing soil and water. It measures both acidic and alkaline properties. Acids can include very common foods that we eat, such as citrus fruits like lemons or oranges, as they contain citric and ascorbic acid. Alkalinity measures the ability to neutralize acids and bases, which helps maintain a fairly stable pH level. Now, what causes red cabbage water to change color? As red cabbage contains a substance called anthocyanin, it can change color depending or not whether an acid or a base is added to it. The pigment is a natural-based indicator, which means it is blue in neutral substances such as plain water. But if you add something such as lemon juice to it, it can change to a pinkish red color. On the other hand, if you add a base such as baking soda, it will typically change to a green color. Now that we are getting into our experiment, we are going to see if the red cabbage water displays any changes. Let's get into it. Now, before we get into looking at our experiment to determine whether red cabbage water changes color and pH level when an acid is added to it, I would like you to use your computers to answer a poll on whether or not you believe a chemical change will occur. Please take a minute to answer this before we move on. So I will give you time to do that now. Awesome, let's get into it. Okay, the hypothesis we are investigating for this experiment is, do acidic substances such as lemon juice or vinegar alter the color of red cabbage water and affect the pH level? The materials needed in order to carry out this experiment consisted of white vinegar, a lemon, a digital pH meter in order to measure the pH level before adding acidic properties and after, 2 separate measuring cups to fill about 250 ml of cabbage water in each, half a red cabbage, and a teaspoon to measure the ingredients. Method on how to carry out this experiment. So step 1, you need to break off some cabbage leaves and place them into a small pot of boiling water for about 2 minutes in order to allow the blue color to emulsify from the leaves. Now, when you add cabbage leaves to room temperature water, the color won't emulsify. So that's why you need to boil it in order for the color to emerge. Now, after boiling the cabbage leaves for about 2 minutes, you strain them and pour the red cabbage juice into 2 separate measuring jugs, one to add lemon juice to and observe, and one to add vinegar to and observe. Now, step 3, prior to adding any vinegar or lemon juice to the cabbage water, you need to test the pH level of it in order to see if there are any changes before adding the acidic properties and observe the changes afterwards. As seen in the image, the pH level of the cabbage water was around 7, which is seen as the neutral pH level for red cabbage juice. Now, step 4. After measuring the pH level prior to adding acidic substances, you add about 3 to 4 drops of lemon juice in one of the measuring jugs and a capful of white vinegar in the other and observe any color changes. Results. After adding the lemon juice and vinegar to the red cabbage water, these images reflect the changed pH level. The image on the right shows the changed pH level after adding lemon juice, which was around 8.5 to 9, and the image on the left shows the changed pH level of the cabbage water with vinegar, which was around 8 and was around 4.5 to 5 on the acidity scale. As seen in these images, the red cabbage water changed from a bluish purple color to a reddish pink color. The cabbage water with the vinegar had a more purplish pigment, whilst the red cabbage water with lemon juice was a reddish pink color. So if you are one of the students who during our poll guessed that there would be a chemical reaction, congratulations, you are correct. This experiment has clearly proved to be correct, as adding acidic properties does indeed change the pH level of water as well as its color due to all the factors we discussed earlier on in our presentation. Now, let's consider, did this experiment have a physical or a chemical change? The answer is both. A physical change was seen as the color of the cabbage water changed from its bluish purple state to a pinkish red state. And it was also a chemical change as we saw a change in its state and its change in its color, and it formed a new substance. Now that we're at the end of our lesson, I'm going to get you all to use your laptops to play a Kahoot and answer questions based on information I discussed throughout this presentation. I hope you all kept your eyes and ears peeled. Question 1. What is the name of the red pigment found in red cabbage? Anthocyanine, citric acid, or acetic acid? The answer is anthocyanine. Physical changes refer to changes where substances interact with each other and can be changed, or changes to the shape, color, or temperature of a substance. The answer is changes to the shape, color, or temperature of a substance. Good job. Chemical changes refer to changes to the shape, color, or temperature of a substance, or changes where substances interact with each other and can be changed. The answer is changes where substances can be changed when they interact with each other. Good job. Question 4. Acids cause substances with anthocyanine to change color to a reddish color. True or false? The answer was true. Now, bases, when added to substances with anthocyanine, can change to a green color. True or false? The answer was true. Okay, thank you students for being patient and observant during our presentation. I hope you learned something new and enjoyed our lesson. Goodbye and have a good day.